Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of Pokemon Ruby Nuzlocke. In the last episode, I defeated Winona and her questionable methods, made an analysis on the disaster Pokemon, and had a farewell battle with Zephyr and Lilycove. In this episode, we're going to advance the plot and enter new locales. As you can see, Team Magma has liberated Lilycove right now in order to keep the peace. As a result of their occupation, they have closed off the ocean to prevent any progression. If you recall in the last episode, some grunts went off to a place called Mount Pyre. In Scooby-Doo fashion, I need to head over there, investigate, and meddle in other people's affairs. One thing before doing so is I need to capture a Pokemon here since I didn't get a chance to before. I ran into repeats for a bit, so I had to skip by species class, so I required a little bit of fast forwarding. First unique encounter here, and it is a Duskull. Duskull is a ghost Pokemon and is actually not hindered by the bad typing in this generation. You see, Ghost is physical in this gen, and so as a result, moves like Shadow Ball were erroneously coded and did things like reduce special defense. Ghosts are immune to normal attacks, but in this rare occasion I used Odor Slav that makes it prone to normal attacks, making it easier to quick attack and slowly draining away its health. I also kept it just in case I run into people who use double team so that I pretty much just remove their ability to evade. As a Pokemon, Duskull is actually a strong defensive tank where its best use is an attempt to stall out an opponent with status inflictions and then use the move Curse, which will slowly drain away an enemy's health. Keep in mind the move Curse is different for Ghosts, as if you recall how I used it on Torkoal to sweep Norman. I highly recommend it to anyone who wants a strong tank and an excellent staller. Gotta love the obsessed girlfriend. As to the rules, I decided to call it Spiffa, as it is a very spiffo Pokemon. Okay, now that I caught a Pokemon, it's time to head to a new area. I will say at this time that I will not cover the Safari Zone until a later time, as I want to progress the plot and I require certain items to make things easier for me. For now, I'll be acting as your tour guide into one of Hoenn's great wonders, which is Mount Pyre. Mount Pyre is a place completely surrounded by water and the largest gravesite in Hoenn. It is known as the place where all life ends and a new area to catch a Pokemon. The place is divided into two areas where going to the left is the game's plot and straight up the stairs will net you items and trainer battles, which I speed up here as it is optional. As for Pokemon, the only thing here are Duskull, so when I go outside I'll look for something to catch. The only thing of importance is the TM for Shadow Ball, which is the strongest ghost move in this gen, and on the way down you can fall through the holes that will get you instance items which boost stats, but are mainly used to breed baby Pokemon like Azuro and Pichu. If you don't really care for these items, I recommend skipping them. Here in Mount Pyre, as you can see, it is a large gravesite, reminiscent of the Pokemon Tower of Lavender Town in Kanto, or, more recently, Celestial Tower of Unova. However, unlike many grave sites, this has a bit of charm to it. In every region in Pokemon, there is typically a theme to it that is personified in what a Pokemon researcher bases his work on. In Hoenn, it's Pokemon habitats where residents respect and work closely with natural environments of the region along with their Pokemon. As you can see, unlike the artificial structures you're used to seeing in other games, here everything was built around nature so as not to disturb it and give it significance to Hoenn's culture. The combination of nature and man-made structure is not present everywhere in Hoenn, but does leave it open to interpretation as to how people of Hoenn think about the development of the region. If you think about it, Team Magma and Aqua's main goal is a good representation of it. Magma wants to expand the land, and which can be seen as adding more places to develop, while Aqua wants to remove it and essentially reset the world, kinda like the story of Noah's Ark. I will admit that there is a bit of a hole to that theory with how they appear, seeing how Magma comes off as a native tribe and Aqua as a more organized militaristic group, where you would think both would have opposite opinions about how Hoenn's geological structure would be shaped. I am probably just overthinking it, but I do admit it is kind of an interesting topic to think about. In the end though, For Hoenn, residents are either willing to live with nature or focus on the development of the populace. It is a bit of a struggle to balance the two, which is probably why Hoenn ended up being the way it's shaped. Now that I'm outside in the new area, I'm able to catch something. This will probably be the only time I'll ever come here, so let me see what I can find. First encounter here, and it's a Vulpix. Vulpix is a fairly decent Pokemon and likely the only other fire type you can find in Hoenn aside from Torkoal or Normal. In terms of stats, it is more suited in special defense and learns a pretty decent move pool. I mean, it already knows Flamethrower right off the bat. Its ability is Flash Fire, meaning it's immune to fire attacks, and gets a boost in fire moves as a result. Very strong already and worth keeping as a backup. Interesting fact is that Vulpix actually plays a prominent role in the side game Mystery Dungeon, where apparently touching one of the tails of its evolution, Ninetales, causes the whole plot to even happen. Interesting thing if one could see a one-tailed Vulpix. As to the rules, I decided to call it Inferna because all the female Pokemon I encounter need a stage name. Alright, now that I caught something, I wanted to make a note that right around here is the TM for Skill Swap, which swaps special abilities with Pokemon. Only Psychic Pokemon can use it, but it is a pretty good move when used in doubles, even though doubles is not really emphasized in this game, despite being invented in Hoenn. Here on the summit, the area will become foggy, but it does not make a fog barrier like in Gen 4 or any added effects in battles. Instead, it is more atmospheric and only adds to the spook factor here. So do not fret, as the only thing to be concerned about here is Team Magma or Aqua Grunts using Pokemon of around level 30, which should be easy at this point. So instead, I want to talk a bit about the plot. In Pokemon Special, the last of the three fires, named Blaise, makes an appearance here. He's a manga exclusive character, so don't expect a unique sprite here like with Marge or Tabitha. Blaise is the weakest member of the three, but he does make it up with his unusual method of attack. In terms of plot, Blaise was ordered by Maxie to retrieve an artifact known as the Red Orb and Blue Orb, which are protected by one of Hoenn's most unique gym leader duo, Tate and Liza. Tate and Liza are a sibling gym leader duo that work off one another. Both are great martial artists that fight with their Pokemon against opponents. Despite being martial artists, they mainly focus in Psychic-type Pokemon, which probably will be a problem later down the line for me. Instead of doing their job and watching the gym, they stayed on Mount Pyre to serve a secret mission to protect the orbs, which is probably why they never even appeared at the gym leader meeting at Fort Tree in the first place. In Mount Pyre, Blaise fought with the duo. However, Blaise is not strong in terms of combat, much less against two gym leaders, but instead uses a real-life effect that fire can bring. He uses fire to create illusions and confuse people by affecting their sight and depriving them of oxygen, which will slowly and painfully subdue them. Which is pretty creepy in my opinion, especially with his track record in using this trick on kids. Especially the fact that Tate and Liza are just 8-year-olds, holding the record for youngest gym leaders till now. Blaise used this method by making fake images of enemies that kept Tate and Liza distracted while he successfully acquired the orbs. It is not known what happened afterwards, but it is assumed the duo kept fighting endlessly until either someone snapped them out of it or until they just passed out of exhaustion. Okay, now that I'm done covering manga plot, time for the game's limited plot. If it weren't for the box art in this game and the remix, the events that are to come would be more legendary. Well, I tried my best to allude to it and hope to amaze the people that are watching. Anyways, it appears Maxi stole one of the orbs and ran off to find Seaman at Slateport. He warped her off screen, so two can play the warping game. Back in Slateport, the media is here. I suppose it's not a problem if I casually enter the frame uninvited. If I could, I would so bunny ear Captain Stern right here. I kinda wanna believe Maxi spent a few minutes trying to get the megaphone to work. Well, speak of the Giratina. Commiserate? Pity? Jerk. Why does he keep telling me where he goes? Is he hitting on Ruby? Creepy. Well, it looks like Maxi swam off to his hideout at Lily Cove in style with a submarine. Well, warping ahead. Now that I'm back in Lily Cove, what I need to do is try to get out of here into the next town. Unfortunately, despite all the plot events, that one grunt is still blocking the path. I really can't believe Maxi's forcing me to accept his invitation. I hope it's not some offshore base where he hopes it becomes beachfront property. Maxi is Lex Luthor. Nuff said. Here in the secret hideout, if you're not tired of fighting grunts, guess what? An entire area full of them. Hence the need for speed up. In terms of plot, not much really happens, but in Pokemon Special, a few things do happen. After Maxi's visit to Team Aqua leaders Archie at the news station, the two made a pact to work together up to a certain point. Aqua acquired a part needed to navigate the sea, and Magma had the sub, and figured both would just meet there and go to where the sleeping Pokemon lie. It was very touch and go there, as both were itching to play a fast one on one another. However, no matter how evenly matched both were in terms of strength, it was clear Magma's knowledge of Hoenn's ancient ways gave them the edge in this conflict. They seemed to know something about the orbs that they acquired and went a lot of trouble just to get them. Now that I cleared most of this place, I wanted to make a note about the word puzzle here. The incorrect works will only backtrack you to the start of the room, so it is not very punishing and kind of a warm welcome. Navigating it correctly will take you to a room with 4 items. 2 are safe and 2 are random encounters. This is a new area and a new Pokemon to catch, which is Electrode. The Pokemon is insane fast and pretty decent electric Pokemon. I would suggest catching it, but kinda like the teleporting Abra of older games, you only get a one shot at this. Be warned that if you Nuzlocke this game, be sure to send out a defensive tank, since these balls do what they do best, which is they explode. Well, for my trouble, I got a nugget and my inventory is full. This brings me back to the old game limitations. People who play new games should be grateful that you can carry unlimited items now. This is quite a task in the older games. Now that I got what I came for, I'm going to do one more quick speed up. The item I got was a Master Ball. The Master Ball is essentially the win button in random encounters, as it allows you to catch a Pokemon without fail. Pretty great item, but a one-time use. People who are familiar with the games tend to save it for super powerful Pokemon. In my opinion, I prefer playing the game without using it. I will say that for a Nuzlocke room, I would recommend using it in a random counter that you can't win. No point in losing to a random encounter that you can't run from, unlike the grunts that I am trying to sidestep here. We have here is the area boss, Tabitha. He has 3 Pokemon and is a fairly easy opponent. His first Pokemon is Nubble, and by now you should know the usual water move is sufficient to beat one. For reference, Tabitha is the guy that helped Marge get the scanner, and the one that tried to save Mount Chimney. In terms of plot, the reason he's here is just merely to be Maxie's bodyguard, which is odd in my opinion, seeing how, with the exception of Blaise, do the 3 Friars even care to follow his orders. Tabitha's second Pokemon is Mightyena. It has the Intimidate ability to decrease attack, so keep that in mind. I would say this one's probably the more problematic of the 3, so I decided to use Weak Boost to show off its strategy. The Mightyena tries to slow you down so that it can go next on the first turn. This way it gets set up Swagger immediately, which is a move that'll increase your attack, but adds confusion. If you have a healing move, you can take advantage of its attack boost. Otherwise, just switch and use something strong. I wanted to decrease Mightyena's accuracy so I could switch safely, just because I wanted to reduce its chances to land a hard hit. Also, let's be honest, with my luck, I prefer to play it safe. Tabitha decided to heal, and just to take advantage of the moment, I went for an attack and successfully got the paralysis. I am grateful Phosphor has luck with its moves. It's funny that with the AI you could tell it's repeating its pattern, the way it did on Fenrir. Very predictable and easy to counter. Tabitha's last Pokemon is Camerupt, which is likely going for the magnitude, which for some reason he always landed a high number every time. The strategy it uses is Amnesia, which is a new move where it raises special defense to compensate for its weakness to water. However, 4 times weakness just means 1-shot kill, and just to be a sport, I didn't go straight for water move and just went physical instead. The end result is still the same though. Well, I pretty much defeated Tabitha in battle. It appears Tabitha was being cryptic instead of being blatant as to where to go. Alright, I covered a lot. I think this is a good stopping point. So next time on Pokemon Ruby Nuzlocke, I will try to get to the next town. Until then, see you later. Bye!